bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time.
Hey everyone, this is Monica Ramirez, Warrior of Love, and you're in Soul Talk. Thank you for being here with us, for the ones that are going to see this live, and for the ones that are coming in the future. Please share it with your friends if this resonates with you. And today we have a very interesting colleague that I really appreciate this point because she's one of mine. She's an artist, she's an art therapist and coach, and I am very excited to present her. Her name is Anne von one. Oh my God, I'm gonna say wrong her last name. So please, Anna, tell us your last name.
It's Anna Wosniewska. I often just write von V because people don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, and how you say it, like this is what I do. Yeah.
Anna she is a juicy creatrix, Renaissance woman, wellness seeker, and alchemist. She has dipped her toes in a few industries, including movie production, beauty and events producer, and photographer. After decades of working of her self-healing and freeing herself from the hustle, she found herself calling in creativity and resilience coach. She also works with the source energy through Reiki, Theta, and Akashic Records. Anna, I'm fascinated what you do, and I enjoy it. I have done it. I've been doing it for a long time too. But you're a ceramist, right?
Yeah, that's how everything started. I actually applied for jewelry when I went to the art school, and I ended up at the ceramic. There was not enough space for me in jewelry class, so I had to pick either to work with fiber, which was not my thing, and I didn't have a patient to work and make work with fiber at the time, or ceramics. So I chose the ceramics, which is like beautiful art container, because you work with clay, which comes from the earth, and it's like this earthful feeling and touching the clay, and it's a little bit rough, but I didn't do much after I finished the school with the clay until basically this year, and learning how to use the clay in the art therapy. So it's been like a long time, like years, like over 27 years since my graduation, and I haven't touched clay
Wow.
as a, as a art medium since then. Yeah.
I totally understand. Well, I am a painter. That's how I started, but I did study 4 years sculpture in bronze and different things, but we use a lot of clay, so I know the sensation, but I have not done a sculpture per se for a long time. Paintings, I still do it when I need to relax or do my own art therapy for myself. That's when I do my paintings. So it is fascinating that that you actually became a holistic art therapist, correct?
So I'm a facilitator for the art therapy. I live in Canada, so we have like different like rules to be therapist. I actually have to have like a therapy degree, but because I have an art degree, I can be a facilitator of art therapy. So this is what I do here, and I also started to use art therapy to heal myself. And this is why I was always interested in art therapy techniques. I first time when I actually had connected to art therapy when after my divorce. And it was actually a therapist, psychologist who showed me some techniques to do by myself to release some emotions and to work on my emotions over 20 years ago. And quickly after I came to Canada, and it was my dream to become art therapist. However, the life went on a different pathway. And recently, just 2 years ago, I decided it actually happened also like serendipitously with like some stuff happening. I had like another plan, but then you know how universe works. It showed me that no, this plan is not gonna work for you. I broke my toe. I was supposed to go for a yoga teacher training in India. And I decided, no, I cannot do it with a broken toe because it was actually smashed. So it was smashed with like, you know, just like a big mess. And I was like in this moment of, you know, realization that, yes, I'm going to do something different. And like this was like last 3 days to apply for the program, for the art therapy program. And I used this time and like this 3 days to write all these essays and everything I needed and apply and prepare like, you know, like all the work for to apply. And I got accepted in the program, which is like, was also like a last year of the program of the school. So it's like interesting that I got it, and it was the only place in my city with amazing teacher who is an art therapist, and she had this program for like years, and because of the COVID and all this, you know, like doing stuff online, when she really wanted to actually work with people more one-on-one and like in groups, then she decided to close the school and finish the program. So I was so lucky that this worked out that way. And yeah.
How interesting is how the universe will take you when you let yourself guide, because you can push it and you can go to India with a broken toe, and probably you will not be doing so good because the pain and so forth. I know I have broke a bunch of things. But the universe guides you to do something different for something that is passionate about you, because you're an artist, and the same universe actually took you somewhere else. It is very interesting every time I see it, like, oh, I get it. I was supposed to do this instead of the other thing that I was going to do.
It's exactly how it happened. And I was not only, I would be in pain because of my toe, but I would actually be stuck there because it was supposed to start in January 2020. So I would be stuck in India for months.
Yes.
So this was another thing. So I got, you know, I got saved by universe path and letting go with the flow. And this was also when I started coaching programs and like learning how to became a coach, because this was the way how I can legally work in Canada to facilitate the art therapy for my clients.
Yes. And I wondered, then you study also Reiki and Theta and Akashic Records. How did you combine that? Well, in the Theta healing, I use it all the time with my clients, but it is very different than art coaching. Those are separate modalities that you offer, or you put them together with your art therapy.
So I have like I offer holistic sessions where clients can experience different things, like, or sometimes the clients who I coach, they just got like, you know, they can have a one session a month included, which is the holistic session, which is longer session. And then I work with clients for like 2 hours usually, and it has like different parts included. So there is energy part, and the energy part is usually because after I did Reiki courses, I discovered Theta, and then kind of like everything came together. And it's, you know, it's kind of like, oh, and I was learning about quantum healing as well. And I didn't do the course, but like I realized that all these like modalities are like just working with the source energy. And basically that's all the same, just in different, like, you know, shades of healing modalities. And I decided to create like kind of like a signature sessions for my clients where I use like energy work, also some hand-on work, because I also do some hand-on work. I do cupping, which actually is from my grandma legacy from Poland. And I work with like a gentle massage through Reiki. Sometimes, you know, like I usually ask clients if they prefer to, you know, be touched or not. But I like to work with my hands as well. It's kind of, you know, like working with the clay. And I also have an aesthetics background. So I work with aesthetics. I like to touch humans because I think they beautifully heal when you combine touch with energy. And this actually is really relaxing. This puts them like in the state of, you know, like relaxation and on ease. And then we usually do like a little bit of coaching and maybe like journaling together, like with prompts, coaching, journaling, prompts. I'm really huge fan of journaling. It actually is really helpful for me as a healing tool. It always was. I didn't know before it became trendy. I was doing journaling like since I was like child, and it wasn't trendy. It wasn't like, you know, a thing going around, but I was doing lots of journaling, lots. And now I can see this as a healing tool. I didn't know about this then. So we do this, and then usually we do a little meditation. I also play a little bit of hand drum, or you know, just like to get like vibrations of the heart. We work with essential oils as well during the session, and then at the end of the session, I usually, we sometimes do art therapy piece. Usually it's just short, and then at the end of the session, I tap in Akashic Records for them. So this is kind of like, you know, like a long healing session, 2 hours. But I basically schedule this for every client differently. And I also sometimes change stuff on the go intuitively, because sometimes, you know, there's like a need of changing this to this, or yeah.
When we're connected as conduits
Yeah.
from our guides, sometimes they tell us, okay, you know what, you're gonna work with this client in this way or that way or so forth. And obviously you let yourself guide. That have saved you in so many ways. So I believe that you let yourself guide, right?
Yes. So it's like just going with, you know, whatever the heart tells you, like in this moment is needed. Sometimes it's needed just to sit in the silence, like hold somebody's hand and just tapping in Akashic Records and like asking for the next step, right? And sometimes it's just like we need the movement and we need to do like art therapy, expressive art therapy. It's also movement and dance. So sometimes we need to shake it. And I recently just heard that the human is the only mammal who is not even mammal, the only in animal world, who is not shaking the emotions and energy from us. Because birds and like animals, like dogs and cats, they shaking, right? So they do this like shaking movements. And yeah, and humans don't, but we need it because sometimes we need to shake stuff, right? We need to move the flow of energy. And yeah, so sometimes this is what is needed in this moment, right? Sometimes it's a quiet moment to reflect and journal.
And that takes us to the beginning when we were a child. When we're a child, we observe the childs and the kids, all the kids in the world, they do whatever they're pleasing in that moment. They want to sing, yell, shout, dance,
Yes.
shake,
Yes.
etc. They do it, but as an adults, we learn to control. We are too programmed. We learn to control everything, all our movements. Everything is with a lot of restrictions for the old programs of the system.
Yes.
That they avoid us, not avoid us. They kind of block us to be that child and to shake when we need it, or to shout when we need it. And that's where the Reiki, I believe, it comes from, right? Because that's important. Sometimes we have our chakras blocked, and that is important we unblock those chakras, not only for ourselves, for our clients, if they don't know how to do it themselves, right?
So yeah, so about the chakras, I usually, when I work with the clients, I start every session with like this. Either even if we do like a coaching session, we do like a little meditation to unblock the chakras, to move the energy through the chakras. I can notice with my hands like the pain points. However, like not touching, right? Just kind of like holding the hands, like moving the energy. But I think it's important that this comes also from ourselves, right? Because just to work with our breath, work with our energy, moving our breath. So I basically, every session is like unblocking at the beginning, or just some people are not spiritual, they don't know about chakras, right? And they don't even want to talk about it. So we just move energy through breath, like talking about body parts, right? Without using the word chakras.
Yes.
Which is also okay and also works the same, basically, right?
Yes, I do agree with that. In my case, that's when I start using NLP. That is more not so technical spiritual in a way, because or else we're talking about energy and so forth, and higher selves and so forth, and that's not everybody believes in that, but everybody needs a healing. I have not met one person in this world that doesn't have to work in something in themselves, even if they say, no, I don't need therapy. Therapy is for crazies. But no, everybody needs therapy, including the Dalai Lama. If he was completely healed, I bet he would not be in this pain and fighting or whatever things that he have to work with himself. I have a question. You mentioned previous we start recording. How do you work with the art therapy with your clients? Now what is art therapy? You work with watercolors or clay, or how do you work with them?
Yeah, so my signature tool, which I can say I will never master the watercolors, because as artists, the mastering is like a whole life work. but I know watercolors and inks. I love these techniques, and they're actually easy to learn for people who never touched, ink or paint. And I developed some different art sequences for them, where I can teach them, but they can also use them in the art therapy. And there's like flowing of ink, flowing of watercolor. So we work with the water, and we use lots of water, like lots of water. So the paper is basically soaking wet. And you can even see those bubbles on the paper, the bubbles like from the bubbles from the water. And then you inject this paper with different colors and let go of the stuff with the colors, and work on letting go of the control, of letting go of the problems, of like if there's something you want to release, you release it as you release this with the water, and you watch it, because when you watch it, they actually mix together in different way. And sometimes it's about the control, and you want to control it, like you want to add a brush there, right, and paint it, but it's not something you do, you let it go. And this is the first part, which is a letting go part. And then usually with this technique, you let it dry. And then the second part is where you are actually intentionally adding art pieces to the whatever you created first. So you can use the like ink, you can use like you can draw on it. So this is with intention, and like it's really like transforming, because like it's really beautiful to see how clients are like, oh my God, I cannot use the brush, because I am actually taking away the brush from them. Because like I know they have tendency, oh, so now I'm not using the brush, I cannot paint. Like I just watch how they gonna play together, the colors mixing, because we're like the technique is like when you mix different like watercolors, different inks and alcohol, they actually create like a movement together. So that's about that. The other stuff is I also do different like portraits, body mapping, different kinds of mandalas, like timeline mandalas, which are really healing, with different techniques. Yeah, there is like a few different things. Like I learned so many techniques for the art therapy. I try to use the idea and create my own. Yeah.
Yes. Gosh, it is art for me. It is one of the more healing process and more releasing process.
Yes.
You're sad, mad, or you want to have a clear intent or whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Art, it is amazing in creating that. I wanted to ask you about, you were in movie productions. I've been married with one, he was a producer, and the other one, he was an actor. And so that is, and so I only acted in two plays. That's not my thing. That's why I retired, because that was not my thing, acting. But that put me to think in a different way. Is when you're performing in a movie or in a set or in a play or whatever, you're trying to be someone else that you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to put the shoes of the person that you are representing in that performance. And that was very, very interesting. The two times I did it because of a spiritual in a spiritual way. I wanted to learn how to put the shoes of someone else that it was completely different than me. And it was very, very hard.
Yeah.
It was very, very hard because you still know who you are, but at the same time, you're being someone else that you don't agree, but you have to be that person for the sake of the production.
Yeah.
And how was your when you were working in movie production? How do you felt it in this more into spiritual way?
So like talking about the movie production, I actually never performed as an actor or actress. I did this before in my life in theater before I came to Canada, but I have never done this as an actress. But what I was working on was mostly like actually like photographing, like doing the pre-production and documentary movies, and then animation and creating the festival here locally, International Animation Festival. But like during like production of the documentary movie, it's actually you actually work with like a normal people. They are not acting, and they are like just sharing, and they are like sometimes you record them twice or three times, but like they're just themselves. But it's about their life, right? So they talk about stuff they are passionate about, or sometimes it's about the pain, sometimes it's sometimes it's hard to even talk about stuff because they are like, you know, like still experiencing this moment. But I actually never worked with like actual, like, you know, like movie stars, or I worked with the directors who like I went to Hollywood and went to the film festivals, but I have never worked with like people who are actually acting. However, acting is amazing for the art therapy because you can use the acting to actually make a play about stuff that was like trauma, you know, in your life, or it was like something you want to work through, and you can use it, right?
Because then you can become the observer of the
Yes.
dramas
So
in play
yeah.
there, so you can shift that memory easier.
Yes, you can totally shift this memory, and actually you can play this game couple times until you don't feel anything and you are like really observing this. And there's also playing with like different like masks, right? You do the masks of anger or grief or joy. You can play with puppets, right? You can make a puppets and like play like work through the experience using those puppets. So there's like so many different like things, beautiful ideas you can use, right? Also as an actor. But yeah, I never had this like need to be an actor.
I did it because I wanted to.
Yeah.
After living with an actor for
Yeah.
12 years, my ex-husband, and I saw that they submerge so much into the role that even if they're performing someone else, but more in the place, because they have to practice for
Yeah.
weeks or months before the performance, they start embodying the role that they are going to be performing, that sometimes it just change the way they observe everything in that moment. They're other person. And I was very interested being an observer of him,
Mm-hmm.
how he was changing at home when he came to eat, when he was home. I was like, oh my God, this is not the same person I married. What happened with him? And that's why it brought my curiosity. It's like, okay, how I will feel when I do it.
Yeah.
So when they invite me to participate, and I participated in Yerma from And it was a play from was a very restricted society in the 1800s in Spain, where they were very macho society, and that really doesn't resonate with me or who I am. I am not a feminist, but I'm very defender of the women, and I have to perform that submissive woman. And in that time, and it was like, oh my God, it was, and I have to be one of the sisters-in-laws that it was the mean one, and it was like against that, and I was like, oh my God, and I did so that inner anger inside of me. It helped me a lot in my art therapy, in the anger of me against that same society that it was in that time. Time to time it shows in this one. And I have to heal it from inside out, and not become the observer all the time and be like two people at the same time. The one is going to be performing to do a good role in the play, but also my side that I was observing, that Monica, that was very, very interesting. I actually recommend everybody as an art therapy to perform in a play, because it really makes you become the observer of yourself if you're putting attention.
Yeah, I can imagine this, but like I didn't have experience I have now when I was actually acting, right? In theater, and in theater you have to it's a little bit more strict with the what you say. You have to exactly say how it's written, and but it was interesting, but I didn't have any knowledge I have right now when I was doing this, so I couldn't like you know, ignite a healing at the time, because I was like just at the beginning, or even not of my own healing journey at that time.
Yes, it is. Now, a lot of us, when I started painting or writing, I did not have the knowledge that I have now. When I find out what that I was channeling, and that I was doing, I did it in a different. I did the same, but in a very different perspective that I was doing it when I started.
Yeah.
So it changes who we are now.
Yeah.
With that, I wanted to ask you also. I read here that you are. I did not ask at the beginning. I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody, and to you, Anna. But tell us what it took you here, because you would mention that you were not in that time. You were not. Let's put it like that. Awake, or I don't even know how to say it. Or because it is everybody that have that awake, that start working with themselves, something happened to us, or else we would not be in this path. Our guides, or whatever we want to call them, they take us to this journey to say, oh, I need to start working with me, or I need to heal myself, or we go into the dark night of the soul. So what it took you where you are now?
So there was few elements, and they actually everything like happened like you know, like one in, I wouldn't say like in the same timeline, but like it was really close to one timeline pretty much. I was living in like a really big trauma. I had a PTSD, which was like caused like by events in my childhood, then in my teen. So I was like feeling kind of like I'm sliding on the surface of life. I wasn't really doing like I was like living, but I didn't feel like I'm fully living. I was like always very anxious. I had like this like, you know, victim mentality, like blaming, lots of like rage issue, anger issues, which showed up in the eating disorders, and like doing different diets, and like, you know, like sliding on the scale, and like like, oh, like there was like lots of things, not sleeping well, like depressed, like all these things, like, and what happened, like I think the most significant thing was which caused like the dark night of the soul, because I had like those little moments of awakening, like small kind of pieces, you know, like kind of like blinking of the light, but I went back to where I was. Even like if you look on the surface, it all looked really nice. Like I was like successful, like I had like a own business, then I was like part of this, part of that, like, you know, but I went to Cuba as a wedding photographer and I got arrested there for being a part of the opposition, which I wasn't, but the Cuba at the time, it was in 2008. And this was really like a big trauma for me, because like I would have never expect that this would happen. And I was not involved in politics. I was like just artist there. And I visited the Biennale, the Havana Biennale, as an artist with another artist friend. And I didn't know even that he's like a really big in politics, or like we're just like watching arts. And yeah, on the airport I got arrested as a political threat to Cuba. And it's like kind of a joke when you think about this now, but I was like really traumatized by this. And when I came back to Canada, they let me go after, like they let me go on the same day, but it was still very traumatic for me. And I started to do this project. I started with the arttherapy project, and like all this like small pieces, like I was depressed for like a half a year after this event, like really dark. It was really dark. I was like blaming myself. I was like, but there was lots of processing as well. I was processing all these things, and I started to do like different things, different changes to my life. I started to go to yoga. I started take care of my body more, because I was young, but I was like, I didn't feel well. Like I wasn't like in my best, right? So all these pieces, like body, mind, my soul, it started to feel like I cannot live like this anymore. Like I cannot be in this place, because I wasn't like, I had like moments of happiness with kids and like moments, but I was kind of like living to seek another nice moment of happiness, but I wasn't really like in the happy state all the time, or I wasn't feeling happy. It was like very like blunt, emotions. Yeah. And you okay? Yeah. So but I did lots of traveling, and because of the traveling, I had time to myself. For myself, I did travel as a wedding photographer at the time a lot, to destination weddings like around the world, Caribbean, Mexico, like lots of like US, like Caribbean islands. And usually I had time to just go inside, like write, journal, and I often stayed longer. Like I just like to take this time to explore. And I was alone, so I was working on myself. And the first thing, which actually was my teacher, like thing, I wouldn't even call it thing, but like Ocean was who taught me how to meditate. I did this like totally intuitively. I just went there like on sunrises and sunsets, and I was sitting there on the beach. I wasn't brave enough then to even do yoga on the beach because I didn't feel like, I'm in the place to show awkward moves there. But I was there sitting and meditating with the ocean, with every wave, with every breath. And nobody other than ocean was my teacher, Earth, Mother Earth and ocean. And I connected really, I was always connecting to nature when I was traveling and doing art, doing like journaling. I always had my paint with me, like little like watercolor paint. And this is how I actually connected to the people too, because I even went to like places like bars or and people normally sit there and they drink, and I was there with my little watercolor and my journal, and like people start to talk, and I was doing lots of free coaching for everybody at that time. But yeah, usually it was just really good experience to go inside, and yeah, and this is how it started, slowly, like little by little. And there was like other like, of course it was not done, and there is still sometimes, something is happening, and there was like few moments in between where there was like kind of like I felt like I went back, right, in the process, and it works like a waves. But this is how the process started, and basically like this is how that's why I'm so connected to the nature, and nature is also my ritual, my practice. Going to the nature every day for 1 hour. It's my practice. Sometimes it's longer when there is like beautiful day. I spend all day in the nature, like even working with clients. I coach sometimes in the park, in the forest, which is close by to my house. It's very private there. I have a spot there. I can take them, and I basically like to be there. If it's warm, right? I live in Canada, so it's not always. But yeah, this is how it started. I think the healing came from the nature, and I intuitively picked up those pieces and started to apply them to my own life. And then everything kind of felt together, like with the art and the project I started with Havana at my big event there. It continues, and it's I'm still working on like those like art pieces. It's called Wanderlust. And they are like different cities, different places. It's kind of more like a personal art therapy, but you can also use them if you want to meditate, or have like a creative journey with like art.
Yeah. It is funny. I believe I was trying to find the perfect word, and no, it was funny. It is funny how our guides, it's funny for them, it's not funny for us, when they force us in a very difficult, put us in a very difficult situation where we're needing to get out or drown. As when a lot of fear, when we go into extreme emotions, anger, fear, depression, etc., and they force us to, you need to heal yourself from this one, or you drown, basically. And they push us in a way there. But when we come out on the other side, when we come out of the other side, it is so amazing, because now we can help people in exactly where we passed through, because we already came out of the other side.
Yes.
And that is the majority of all the human beings, or at least the people that I interview when we go through that process. It is very scary in that moment, but actually transform us, and we have that moment when we have to make the choice, us or drowning. In a way, it's drowning, but it can be different kind of ways, or dying, or drowning, or giving up, or to life, or whatever it is. For each person is different, but that's something in common that we all have as coaches, or healers, or therapists. We passed through a very difficult moment, and our guides took us there for our choice at the same time. And we check the Akashic Records, we're going to find that we sign up for that.
Yes, we did.
So, and the Akashic Records, how you start connecting with the Akashic Records?
I think I first so I will have to go back to like this things like so I had like dreams before, and in some times of my life I had the prophetic dreams, and I was always like wondering, like they happened, like I didn't control them, right? So they were happening and I didn't know, like but sometimes I wrote down the stuff and the stuff was happening, and like sometimes it was really scary stuff, which like I predicted that 9/11 will happen, and wrote about this in the letter to my husband, because we just met. We just met. He was my husband already, like freshly married, and he was in Canada, I was in Poland, and I wrote him this letter about the 9/11, like how I can see it. And and this was really interesting to see how sorry. Oh, sorry, it's my neighbor just came to my window. Sorry, I cannot speak right now. Yeah, I'm on the interview. Yeah. Yeah, it's just my neighbor came with some flyers to my window. Sorry. Yeah, so this what happened, and my husband was like, you know, like, and then this happened, the 9/11 happened, and it was exactly how I described it, and then I was kind of scared, and I was doing tarot at that time in my life, so I was asking tarot cards for different things. And I came to Canada, and life got busy and everything got so busy. And when I started meditating, doing more meditation, doing more yoga, like the healing process started, the dreams came back. Like sometimes I could, you know, see stuff in the dreams. And then I think around the time when I started the school for art therapy, and I learned about Akashic Records then. And I was so fascinated about this. It's like, okay, so this is where the streams are coming from. So they are just talking to me, but like I didn't know about this at the time, that I can actually go there and ask. I don't have to wait for dreams. I just have to be in this like state, right? And take care of my self and of my spirituality well. And I can just go there and tap. So this was really fascinating for me to learn this, that you can do it like from the other side, kind of, right? That you don't wait, you wanna know something, or you wanna like experience something. So I started like I did before like some work on my previous lives, and so I started with working with the past and like going to my previous lives, which there was stuff I already knew about them. Like let's say like the Mexico part in my life, because every time when I came to Mexico, and I was traveling to the lots of places, Mexico felt like home, and I knew stuff. I knew like, like this. I knew what's in some places, or like I was going like to Mayan Riviera a lot, and Tulum areas. And I was so connected there. I felt like this is my home. I felt safe there. But I didn't know what's causing this, because like I didn't know about the Akashic Records then. And then I went to Guatemala jungle to visit some of those like pyramids there, and I was also like so fascinated, and I think this activated something too, because then I was able actually to go back to this life and see some pieces of it. I'm still not fully I still don't know fully about this life, but like there are pieces showing in Akashic Records when I want to go there, and they connect. So I'm working on it.
Something that I discovered connecting, for me, I have visions. They show vision. I don't have to be asleep. I just ask, okay, what do I need to know about this? And boom, they send me the file basically, and I'm seeing the file.
Yeah.
But I have discovered that more that I have tapping into that, it is easier for me to just ask for the file of anything or whoever. And they will show me whatever I need to know to help that person or myself. Or why is this making me feel so uncomfortable? Why this person, I feel a rejection for that person. Why? It's not doing nothing to me. Why? And they show me the file and so forth. And that became very interesting. And because you start having memories back of your past lives at the same time. More that you tap in, you're getting more of those memories back. And I feel like in this time, in these moments, and more in the time of the eclipse that we're going to have one soon, it is more those downloads of those memories. Because at the end, what we're doing here as human beings, we're just trying to remember who we were. Because the story always repeats itself.
Yeah, and they come together, and they like you see the puzzle, right? Like the puzzle coming together of like a kind of like a mosaic, and but it gives you like more understanding to why stuff is happening right now.
Yes.
And more patience, and more like even I would say like not the patient, but like I'm looking for the word. Probably like more like, like looking as observer on some things happening right now, because like then you can kind of like, like be more aware and more mindful about things, and you're a different human at the same time, right? Because you have more compassion, you have more love, you understand why people are doing stuff like they are doing, even if they are not on the same pathway like you. There is less judgment.
Yes.
So I think this is beautiful also to see when you work with the clients and see how this transformation is happening in them, and they become more aware and they become more awake, and then they have this like they can see things from this non-judgmental state, and like see the the polarities, and see how the life pathways are coming together, and like why we're doing stuff, like who are the learners, who are the teachers, like all the situation teaching us. And yeah, it's amazing, and it's like it's exciting,
Yes,
right?
definitely we're living in a very exciting times
Yeah.
where when we are seeing in front of our eyes that transformation of us and the rest of the world.
Mhm.
And where the energy grows whatever we put in our attention. So let's
Yeah.
focus on love and compassion for all. So like that we can create a better world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Anna, do you have something else that you would like to say before we
We're almost at the end. No, I don't think so. I don't know if you have any more questions.
It's been very, very interesting to talk with a colleague and an artist, a creative mind, because yes, they're creative minds in everything, but into the arts it is fascinating for me. It is fascinating, and I love what you're doing, and thank you for being you. Thank
Oh,
you
you're
for doing
welcome.
this. And to all our spectators, if you're seeing this program, I really appreciate your presence. And also, if this resonates with you, please share with someone else. It might help someone else right now in their path, wherever they are. And we really appreciate that. And thank you for being you. Be always authentic you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is All Talk, and I'm Monica Ramirez. Thank you so much.
We can sit together. It's so beautiful. You and me, we meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth of